We are streaming, guys. Almost. Oh, there we are. There we are. We're hitting now. Victor is here, so everything will be fine and dandy. Public. Okay. And now this sticker.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Okay, everybody. Are we on, Victor?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very important moment here. We have Victor.
Hello, everyone.
This is the amazing Victor, and I would like you to join us and ask questions to Victor, who will answer them, and I will assist him in any way that I can. So, okay. So, is anyone out there, Victor? What do you think? Victor, say it on the screen here. Okay, the chat is ready. Let's see where we are, everybody. Anyone out there? Tonight we're doing a little freestyle, so let's see who's out there. Victor, is anyone out there or no? Not yet.
It doesn't look like it.
So then give me the guitar. Okay, looks like there's no one out there yet. The chat is waiting for new messages. Okay. Okay, Jay Rosen is there, and William Allen, good to hear from you. Okay, Michael Barnard. Oh! We said we're going to freestyle, so I put the guitar out also. So you can start out. Good to see you all. If anyone has a question, send it my way. Oh, William, good to see you. Okay, so I'm going to open this up. Hello, David. Hello, Dan. If someone has a question out there, we're going to wait till a very deep question comes, Victor. I know it's out there. Let me tell you why you have to ask a very deep question first.
Why, Rabbi?
This is the story of Pesach, Passover. If you don't ask a question, then you can't hear the answer. Okay? If you don't, yeah, good to see you, William. I miss you. I gotta see you in person. So if you don't ask a question, you can't get an answer. You know why that is?
Why, Rabbi?
Because the way the world works is with body and soul, or the Kabbalists call it light and a vessel, or you can call it male and female. Is this going in? Makes sense?
Okay.
So now what happens is that the light has to come into the vessel. We ask Hashem, we ask God to give us certain things. So He's giving us. Now, if we can't get it, that's a problem. Let's say He gives us so much we can't hold it, then we break up. Let's say we're full of ourselves and we don't have a question, then the cup is full, you can't get any more water in it. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
So the reason why you need a question is because if you don't make yourself a vessel, oh, my Tzedekah's wife is giving me a tea. I ran in a little bit late. Say hello, Elisheva. It's freestyle today.
Hello,
So we're all free and we're all in style. So we're going to make a bracha now. We're going to make a bracha now, a shakol bracha. Why a shakol bracha? Because shakol nihyeh b'dvaro. Everything came into existence with God's word. Okay? That's funny. What do you mean God's word? What does it mean God doesn't speak?
Well, but you're telling Bereshit that Hashem spoke.
He created the world with speech. That's right. Oh, we got Michael. We stoked the coals. We got something happening. Do we ever know what happened to the tribe of Judah? Is there any understanding of when the angels were created? In Genesis, it basically says that God created it all, but doesn't specifically say when He made the angels. And by the time Adam shows up, there was already the influence of evil. So, any ideas? Yes, there are many ideas. Okay, I guess we have a vessel there. Michael wants to know a lot of things, and maybe it's even for his brother. Who knows? But now it says, do we ever know what happened to the tribe of Judah? Yes, we do! What happened to the tribe of Judah? You're looking at them.
Well, we're the tribe of Judah.
We're tribe of Judah. That we don't have in the tribe of Judah. The tribe of Judah are the Jews. That's why they're called Jews. Judah. Right? Not Judah, not that. But Judah. Let me explain. Jude, what's a Jew? A Jew is a Yehudi. Why is he called a Yehudi? Because he's from Yehuda. So the first question is very, very simple. The tribe of Judah is what most Jews are today. Okay? So the way it works is as follows. None of the 10 tribes are lost. Okay? There's a split. There's the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. Right? The northern kingdom are the 10 tribes of Israel. They get separated from the temple area, and they are the ones to first get led astray. Yerovam ben Nevat, who was the first king of the 10 tribes, who led the Jews astray, even though he was started out as a very good person, but then power got to him, and we talked about it many times. It explains a very deep topic, and he started leading the northern kingdom astray, the 10 tribes. There were still righteous people, of course. There were still prophets amongst them. But the people were going not in such a good way. Now, they get exiled. And we don't know where they are exactly. They got to Afghanistan area. And what happened to them and what will happen to them, that is a very, very deep topic. Very deep topic. It's actually in a song of mine, Victor, if you want to hear.
Oh, yes, please.
It's in a song of mine, okay? But I'll sing it to you later. But the line of the song is, from behind the mystic wall of the river Sambatyon, where the 10 tribes were in prison for so long. Why? Because the mystical teaching, whatever this means, is that there's a river called Sambatyon, which if you have a sense of Hebrew means Shabbat, the Sabbath, Shabbat, Shabbaton. Okay? Behind the river Sambatyon, that's where the 10 tribes are. Will they come back? How they come back? Who leads them back? That's a very, very deep topic. We may talk about it afterwards, but let's answer Michael's question first. Those 10 tribes were exiled. The 2 tribes, who were Judah and Benjamin, they stayed in Israel. Those tribes, then, they got exiled. Okay? They went to Babylon. They came back to Israel. So the tribe of Judah and the tribe of Benjamin survived. They were the ones who went out into exile in the second temple. They went, into Rome and started spreading out. So most Jews then, therefore, are from Judah. Now, Benjamin was a much smaller tribe, but Judah and Benjamin, therefore, are intact, right? The other 10 tribes, although they got exiled to a place where we don't know exactly where they are, and there's a very deep mystical discussion, did they get intermarried and lost, or they still have the spark that will be pulled out in the future behind this mystical river, which is not for now, a very deep topic. But members of the 10 tribe were all living in, amongst the Jews. There were also members of the 10 tribes living amongst the Jews in the area of the 2 tribes. Right? So if you look in the Talmud, for example, there are rabbis who knew that they were from the tribe of Yosef. Rabbi Yochanan said, I'm from the tribe of Yosef, and he acted his life based on that. He still knew where he was from. So the members of the other 10 tribes are still in the Jewish people, so no tribe is lost. That would be a terrible fallacy to think that, and that would be a destruction of the world. So none of the 12 tribes are lost. On the whole, the 10 tribes have been exiled. The 2 tribes stayed intact. So therefore, when today the term is Jew, what's a Jew? A Jew is a Yehudi. Yehudi is the conjugation of the word Yehuda. Yehuda is Judah. So we're called Jews because we are Judah. So that's what happened to us. The Jews are mostly Judah. There are other people from other tribes. That's true. That's also mixed in there, but on the whole, we are from the tribe of Judah. Chaim.
Chaim.
I can make a bracha now. Shakol nivroi. Ready?
Ready.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Shakol niyeh bidvaro.
Amen.
Oh, that is good. Okay. All right. We got another question, Victor?
Those are all the questions we have right now.
No, we have another question right there. Very, very deep question. Michael's second question is very, 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 very deep. So deep that we can't actually answer it fully tonight. because it's a very, very deep question. When were the angels created? When were the angels created? Victor is going to handle that one. I'll give him background music. Victor, when were the angels created? Tell everyone.
Well, angels were created on the I would say on the 5th day of creation. That's wrong, right?
No, it's right! In the deeper mystical texts, there is another opinion which Victor has tuned into in his amazing mystical skills. That says the 5th day. Wow. Victor, that's pretty good. The simple answer is the 2nd day. But Victor, quoting from the great Kabbalistic texts, has understood there's also another group of angels created on the fifth day. Very good, Victor. Okay. So, but before we discuss when they were created, because it's a little bit of a sort of almost a I say meaningless question, because it means something, but like what does it mean? What's the relevance to us if they're created on the 2nd day, the 3rd day, the 4th day, 5th day? What's the difference of any of the days? Right? What does it mean? What's the difference, and why then the 2nd and also the 5th? And to understand, you have to understand what angels are. Okay, so I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to make this a public question because we're trying tonight to get a little bit of your input to be able to hear where you're at. So the question I want to ask, and I'd like to hear your opinion. Why are there angels? God doesn't need little helpers. So what is this whole concept of angels? What is the purpose of angels? What's the function of angels? Why do we have angels all together? And when we understand that, then we can understand more about the nature of what these beings are, and different types of angels there are, and maybe we'll get into a little bit why the 2nd day and the 5th day. So first, an open question to everybody. Why do you think that we have angels at all? What do we need them for? Open question. What do you guys think? Let me hear. Come on, some of you heard me say it before, so you can put your answer out there. Right, Victor?
Right.
Sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
This kind of reminds me of, like, the Great White North, Bob McKenzie. You know that?
Oh,
You don't know that.
no,
So I'm dating myself. Okay. Anyone know why we have angels? Come on, somebody tell me.
In the meantime, and I think maybe you can elaborate on this. I recall that angels are what we call Hashem's constant will, I guess, or like the forces of nature, gravity, like all of those. It's how we relate to Hashem's creation in a way,
Right.
or actually how Hashem's creation can be perceived by us.
Okay, so Victor has, again, with his Kabbalist wisdom, has been tearing the walls and tearing the roof apart. So that is also very good, Victor. Let's try to understand that. So the first part what Victor said was, he said that the laws of nature is God's constant will. That's correct. Meaning that God's, the will that you see, that God wants how the world should function on a once in history basis, that's called nisi, a nes, what we call a miracle in English, right? But the way God wants the world to work on an ongoing basis, that is called teva, nature. I've put that many times. We explain that the problem with nature, the word teva, nature, is that it is the also word for drowning, toveya. You could drown in nature, meaning you could not breathe and not have a way to see, because everything you see is, this is the way the world is. There is no God, somebody might think when they say the world of nature. That's the downside of nature. The positive side of nature, it's from the word matbeya. Matbeya means a coin or an imprint or a stamp. And it's the way that God stamps the world that it should work this way. So it works this way in the physical world, that there is gravity, there is all these different forces, which could have been set up a different way, but God willed it to be that way. That's the matbeya, that's the coin or the stamp, and that's the way the world is. It's God's constant will. The world should run this way. Now, we've said, somebody who's a wise person will understand the numerical value, the gematria of Hateva, all of nature, is the name Elohim, God's name for the master of all powers. Okay? So what does that mean? It doesn't mean you have to sit there and make a calculation. The fact that the numerical value is the same between nature and God's name, that means that if a person looks at nature properly, they could see it's God's will. That's what it means. And if they don't see it, they drown in it. That's the two different elements of what nature. So the first part Victor said was very good. That was what it means, that the physical world, as we know it, the laws of nature, gravity, thermodynamics, everything is God's will that these laws should be set up. Now, just like God wills there to be laws in the physical world, so too he wills it that there are laws in the spiritual world. The world was created in a certain way, okay? And like there is gravity in the physical world as a law, there are spiritual forces that are connected, just like there's a law in this physical world, there's a parallel law in the spiritual world, okay? And that's the very, very deep teaching. The sages tell us that they say that a blade of grass doesn't grow until the angel, the spiritual force that's in charge of it, hits it and says to grow. It affects it. Because why? Because we live in a world with a cockamamie understanding. Doesn't understand the physical and the spiritual world. They see them as two separate things. That's the world of fantasy and fairy tales, and this is the real world, which is very, very misguided, because the spiritual world and the physical world are one unit. So there are, just like there are laws of how the physical world works, there are laws in how the spiritual works. That's the angels that are created, and those are the spiritual forces that bring about the processes in the world. Not because they are God, he doesn't need those things, but God doesn't need gravity either. If I say, why did I drop this? Well, you dropped it because, I dropped something. Why did it fall? Because God wanted it to fall. Isn't that the reason, Victor? Is it the scientific reason? Yeah. Right. You go tell the scientist that this thing fell because God wanted it to fall, and he'll say, you're crazy. So you're a stupid fundamentalist. You're crazy. But it's the truth, meaning that God wanted it to fall, and he wanted the principle by which the world works, that it falls, that property to be called gravity. Understand that? So too in the spiritual world. The way that God set up the spiritual world is that there should be spiritual forces that bring about the manifestation of his will and our interaction with them. So if we do something good, for example, we affect the spiritual forces that align with our being, and it goes up the chain, and then that there's a response that Hashem sends down the appropriate blessing through the spiritual chain, just like in the laws of physics, but the spiritual chain that brings down to the physical world. So the angels are not thereby God's helpers, that's not what it means, but the angels mean it is the forces, the spiritual forces that God created in order to run this world with its laws, its spiritual laws and its physical laws. And you'll ask me a simple question, you'll say, wait a minute, so why doesn't God do it himself? So this is a very, very deep philosophical point to try to explain in a second. On one level, when you take a plug and you want to plug it into a certain current, So you have to know there has to be an appropriate relationship. If the power coming out is too strong, too powerful, you plug into something, you will explode. Right? So what happens is when God created the world, he put layers and layers and layers that allow us to experience him without exploding. Those layers are the spiritual forces. They're not God's helpers. But what they are is just like the physical, and this is a crazy thing I'm going to tell you now, just like when I talk about the law of gravity, and I say the law of gravity, in a certain sense, conceals God. Why does it conceal God? Because if I drop this object and you say, well, why did it fall? And the religious spiritual person says God wanted it to, and the other person says, no, it's the law of gravity. So the law of gravity in that sense is actually concealing God. Because now you don't think that the source of that law of gravity is God's will. So the law of gravity therefore conceals God in that way. That's what it means the angels at a certain level are concealments.
So why is
That's very deep, by the way. I make l'chaim on that one.
L'chaim,
Okay.
So question on that.
Hello, Larissa. Larissa, I owe you an email. My apologies. I owe you an email, Larissa. I didn't forget about you. I just didn't have a good answer, so I will get back to you. So I'm glad you're with us tonight. Yeah, Victor, please continue.
Yeah. So why is it that we were created needing that concealment, not able to experience Hashem?
Oh, Victor, beautiful question. So Victor says, well, why did God create us in a way that we need that concealment? Why didn't he create us in a way that we could handle the light? Very good question. And many of you now, from things we talked about, could formulate the answer. The answer is because we need to come down to a world that is distant enough, physical enough, where the truth is not clear enough that we can do what we need to do here, which is, first of all, to have free will to choose. Because if there wasn't these layers of concealment of God in the world, and he created us to be able to receive it, then that level would not be a physical level. It would just burn that up. There would be no potential for evil. Potential for evil is an important thing. That means that we now are in a world where we can act godlike. We can choose. But if we were created in a world that there wasn't that level of concealment, that's one of the explanations why malachim, why the spiritual forces, that the bad English term is called angels, the spiritual forces, the kochos, the malachim, the different things we'll talk about maybe, why they have no free will. Because even though we are higher than they are, they're actually getting the light more directly, and therefore they can't do anything wrong. It's like a person who walks into let's say a person, I don't know, on the 50th floor of a building. It's a giant ledge. And there's a big cloud coming in. And then they have to know, well, is this a ledge? And I better not walk off it. Or is this, no, this is just the ground. And the cloud blocks it. When there's a cloud that blocks it, then they could choose to walk off the building or not to. Once the cloud dissipates, then a normal, healthy person, of course, is not going to go and take a step as if he's walking because he knows he's going to fall off. There's no free will. Victor, another excellent question. Good to see you, Abdullah. Good to see you. Okay, good. So, Victor, that's a great question. Let's go to the next level. Don't let me down now. You keep going. So tell me. So now we talk about the angels. And the discussion became, those who just joined us now, the discussion became, Michael asked an incredible question, when were the angels created? And we started to discuss it. We talked about there's different opinions. Not opinions, there are different realities. And different kinds of angels. Okay? And so there are different angels, different levels of angels. Let me just stop using the word angel a second, because when I use that word, we all who grew up in Western society get this little picture of this devil and this other guy on our shoulders. That's no good. And the fairies and that's no good. So let's use the Hebrew word, malach. Malach. Okay, the word malach. The word malach is the general term used for the angels, although there are different kinds of angels. The word malach is in the word milacha. Milacha means action. Action. And the malachim are the spiritual forces that bring out the action to the physical world and are like laws. Just like we have the law of gravity, so the malachim are the different levels, are different levels in the spiritual world that bring these things out. Okay, so that was the point we said. Which day? So the answer really is there's opinion of the second day and opinion of the fifth day, and they're not arguing. There are different kinds of angels. I don't know how much of this is so relevant, but I guess it is. There are what's called the constant angels, the ones that are lasting. And you've heard of some of those names. Michael, Gavriel, right? In Hebrew, in English, Michael and Gabriel. Gavriel, Michael, Raphael. Those are constant angels. Then there are angels that are spiritual forces that are in the process of the world. They are always being created and I don't want to say destroyed, but they're being created and disappearing. Okay, those are not the ongoing ones, and there are different types within that system also. Okay, just able to connect. Good to see you, Don. How did it appear to Abraham if they were as you described? Oh wow, a fantastic question, Larissa. And the truth is that the question was asked, a very deep question. How did the angels appear to Abraham, being what they are? And that really is a very fascinating discussion between Maimonides and Nachmanides about what exactly is the vision of an angel. Was Abraham having a vision? Did he actually see the angels in physical form? That's a very, very deep discussion. The most fundamental way to explain it is that there are different level angels. Okay? There are different angels based on the different levels of the spiritual worlds. The lowest form, angels called Ishim, and those can actually be perceived by a person. So according to the most understandings, everyone, back to Michael and your question, the understanding is that these angels that came to him were able to appear in a physical form. So yes, but that's very, very complicated, because they're not physical beings. How that works, it's very complicated. I don't know how it works. Never made an angel. Okay, good. So what else we got, Victor? You're on a roll here. Continue.
Did Abraham's physical appearance change after seeing angels?
The truth is, you have to realize it in the story, because the story is very unique, because what happens is that if you look at the story, God is appearing to Abraham before the angels come. So he's certainly not affected by the angels, even though you see later on the story of Manoach, who's the father of Shimshon. When he sees an angel, he's on a different level, and he can't handle it. But Abraham seeing the angels, that story didn't change him, because he was having a prophetic moment speaking to God, right? And that was the story. The story is, according to the way the Talmud understands the wording, Don, is that he did something very, very incredible, which is that he said to Hashem, God came to visit him and gave him a prophetic experience, and then Abraham was discouraged because there weren't people to do kindness for, because that was his job in the world. Abraham saw that he had a mission in this world, and although he was getting a moment of complete connection to God that was beyond, that wasn't his purpose in the world. That was his purpose in an eternity of experiencing it. His purpose now was to be godlike and to act like God and bring God into the world. So he felt bad that he didn't have the ability to go and to greet people. So Hashem showed him the angels. And then, as the Talmud says, Abraham says an incredible thing. Abraham says to Hashem, okay, I have a mitzvah to do. And this is the incredible Talmudic teaching that says, greater is the bringing of guests than accepting the divine presence. How could you say such a thing? And the answer is because it's not that it's more enjoyable, or that's not what it means. It means that experiencing the divine presence is an incredible joy for you. That's what we talked about before. The world to come is more pleasure than all of this eternity, all this world altogether. So you get the pleasure of experiencing godliness. But right now, in this world, it is greater to go and to act godly and to have a time where I can choose. And that's what Abraham says to Hashem. He says that, okay, I want to go and bring these people in. And that's the Talmudic statement. It is greater to accept to bring in guests than to accept the divine presence. That's what it says. So, did he change? The angels, Abraham, not in that scenario. Did other people get affected by seeing an angel? Yes, Manoach got tremendously affected. Does a person who experiences godly prophecy, change completely? Yes. It's clearly a verse by the story of Shaul, the story there, that if once somebody experienced prophecy, they were a different person. So yes, and seeing angels for those who are on the level, even in the story, Don, of when Hagar is Abraham's handmaid and runs away, she sees an angel. She's 4, Talmud says, and the angel's calling her, and everyone is amazed. Hagar, was she that righteous? And she says that she was in Abraham's home, and she was used to seeing spiritual forces. I'll tell you something else, but this is going to sound completely nutty to you all, and to me, it's very difficult to fathom. And if you misunderstand this, then you got a problem. But if you understand what this means, this is shocking. I'm about to tell you, shocking. You ready to be shocked, Victor? Okay, this is shocking, Victor. There is a law in Shulchan Aruch, the Code of Jewish Law. And it says there that when a person is entering into an outhouse, he needs to go to the bathroom, and he perceives the spiritual forces, the malachim, that are accompanying him, he should turn to them and tell them to wait there. Now, if you see someone doing this today, you have to dial 911, and you have to... if you see someone doing this today, that's not very normal, right? People talking. We don't do this today because we don't see those spiritual forces that are accompanying us. But I want you to understand something. The sages, for thousands of years, were seeing this. I'm not talking about the prophets. You got to understand what this is talking about. This is talking in the Shulchan Aruch, was codified in the 1500s. So, 1600s. So that means for like a long time, in the time of Moses on, the people that had some kind of experience of experiencing these malachim. Something. I'm not saying they saw them like Abraham, but they were able to experience them enough that the law was to turn to them and say, wait right here. Victor, is that incredible?
That's amazing.
Okay, good. So I think that we answered that question pretty good. All right. What else we got?
Well, I have to go now, Rabbi.
Mm.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right,
on your
Victor.
live stream.
All right. So Victor's gonna go, and I'm gonna take a very, very difficult question now. Okay. First, let's say goodbye to Victor.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Victor, you're gonna want to watch this because it's a very, very difficult question now.
I already got my daily dose of
You got
shock.
your days. Okay. Then wait till this one comes along. All right. I want to ask a question. So, somebody asked me, what is I'm sorry, we got a question from Larissa first. Does this relate to people saying they think they see ghosts? Are ghosts real to see? Sorry, this is off topic. Most people who think they see ghosts are probably not. But that's not called angels. There are some negative forces in the world. And that is actually called a different name. That's called Shadim, Mazikim. Those are some negative forces that actually do exist. And there can be times that a person can experience something. Yeah. So I'm not saying that's what people saw. But I'm saying that, today people don't see as much, but there are, for example, don't go hanging out in ancient ruins. That's a good piece of advice. So, obviously, when it's a tourist spot, it's not an ancient ruin, but a real ruin that's a place that was once built up and now has been harmed. That's a place that people might have experiences that they might not want to have. Okay, I got 15 minutes. I'm not sure if I should do my very difficult topic. Let me open the questions if you have more questions, and then maybe I will say the topic that I was going to ask. This question that someone asked me, which is not difficult to answer, but it's difficult to understand in terms of the dynamic of the world today. So let's get one more chance. If somebody wants to ask their question, I'd like to hear it. If not, maybe we'll go where I was recommending. Chaim. Okay. May I just play you a song first? Want to hear a song? Anyone hear a song out there? Do an original song? Okay. All right. So, I want to. This is going to be a political discussion in a certain sense, because it's really, it needs to be understood philosophically what's going on in the world right now, and there needs to be, if there's a way to unify people and have people understand what's happening, it would be a great thing. Politically, we will not be able to unify. Of my album? Yeah, I'll do some of my album, sure. Politically, we will not be able to unify people, because politics is not a unifier. Torah is. In other words, when I know what's true, then all the political nonsense that goes on would disappear. In the political arena, unfortunately, it's not about truth, it's about other things. So, a person asks, and this is a very common question, what does Judaism think about homosexuality? And the answer is simply it's forbidden. That's clear in the Torah that is forbidden. And it's called a toeva. A toeva is an abomination. Now, we live in America, and you have a question, how does the country function? So when I was a kid, the discussion was that a person would say, this is what I feel, and be tolerant to what I feel, which the philosophical meaning of John Stuart Mill says, it means I tolerate, I don't physically force you to change. And that was the discussion back in the day was, okay, you think this, you think that, we disagree, and tolerate. Tolerate meant don't force me to change. Tolerance didn't work that well, because most people, when they felt that that your opinion was so contrary to theirs, they'd be whether it's xenophobic or what the religions or whatever it was. So most people didn't, or not most people. A lot of people did. I mean, I think it worked fairly decently in America to build America. So I shouldn't say most people, but there were some people, obviously, who were hateful people, and they used force to force people. The philosophy in the world then afterwards changed. And I don't know exactly when. I guess maybe 25 years ago. The philosophy became relativism, and this was a new way to have people understand each other. And this was, instead of saying, you think this and I think that, don't force me to change, tolerate me, there was a new rationale, which is the truth is relative. There is no truth. So if you believe something, you believe in your religion, and that's against mine, or your philosophy that's against mine, or your political views that's against mine, whatever. Political views, they don't do that by, but like moral laws, it was against mine. Beforehand, it was to tolerate. Now, it was not that. Now, it's that your belief is true for you because there is no truth. There is no truth. That's the world of relativism. That's the world that exists today. And what happens is that you're caught now in a problem. You're caught in a problem. Why? Because if a person does not subscribe to a view that says there is no truth, the truth is whatever we, the makers of the truth, believe, which right now the only belief they have is to be open-minded, which means that everyone can believe whatever they want to believe. That's the top priority in America right now, is be open-minded, because the top priority means that what I believe is that everyone is entitled to what they think is true, and there's nothing that's true. Because you want to test this out, it's very simple. Go speak to a person to most people who subscribe to the philosophy of relativism, it's true for you, and say the following to them. Say, listen, I understand how this works. Whatever I think is true for me. Okay, you know what I think? My belief is I think I'm right, and I think you're wrong. And you'll be shocked, because you will get a visceral, angry response, because that's not one of the options. It's not one of the options. The options here are that you can think what you want to, but you have to agree that's not really true, because now if you say I'm wrong, then you are now a bigot, a racist, whatever, a Nazi, whatever accolade that people want to say to you, because you now see differently than the what society says you must believe now. And this is a very, very serious onslaught. And it exists 24/7 in the States. It exists in the media. And that's really, and unfortunately people that don't think deeply fall to this. And it's why it's impossible to have a conversation. Add that to the social media reality of the zipping in, zipping out. People don't even know how to think. They read one line, they have their whole philosophy. So yeah, then that's a very, very terrible mix. So in Jewish law, how do I relate to a person that may be homosexual? How do I relate to him? And the answer is that a person, you not only could not force him to change, okay, because today that's not the situation that you have in the world. You could actually love the person, and I would even say further, I mean, a person who has this challenge is a very, very difficult challenge. So now, it's very uncomfortable to say this, because in today's modern world, you're not allowed to believe that something is wrong. That's a problem now, because if the Bible says it's wrong, if the Torah says it's wrong, then how is there a battle about what I'm allowed to actually believe, and so what I'm allowed to say? So this is a major issue that people have to understand, and to get people back to a spirit of conversation. The only way to do that is to realize is that you could have your opinion, and I could have my opinion, and I could think you're dead wrong. The structure that America was built on is that you can have your opinion, I have my opinion. And it doesn't mean that a person has to hate someone they disagree with. They may even love them. They feel tremendous compassion for them. Sometimes when you disagree with someone, you even respect them tremendously. That happens. Sometimes a person you disagree with, you might not respect. If a person's a very bad person, so you disagree with their lifestyle, and you might not respect them either. You may still tolerate them. You still could love them, though. And that really is the thing to understand. And that's the idea of Rahmanis. Rahmanis means is to have compassion for people. Everybody wants to connect. And if somebody is stuck and somebody is lost, even if they're tremendously lost, I understand that sometimes it's real evil, you know. Someone like Hitler was pure evil. I mean, but there are very few people that have made themselves that evil. And that's what the Ramchal writes, Moshe Khalil Zata writes in The Way of God. He explains there that really, you know, that very few people make themselves completely evil. But unfortunately, someone like Hitler was completely evil. And, you know, he that's the path he took. But most people, you know, even if they're mistaken, you disagree with them, there is an ability to see in a person what's called a tselem Elokim, a divine image in a person. And if I see that in a person, I could love them and I could help them. And I could actually say, I disagree. You know, I think what you're doing is wrong. And I feel bad. And whatever it is you want to say, you have to have your opinion. And right now, that's something that I just, you know, it has to be said, because everyone's like, you know, there really is this process of thought police. And if someone said something, that isn't, the world has gone nutty. It's really gone nutty. Person, you could have your opinion, I have my opinion. And, you know, your opinion may be something I respect, may not be. Certainly something I'm going to tolerate, because there's no other option. You know, it's not, there's no other option. But at the same time, a person could feel that something is wrong, and still love and see the Tselem Elokim, the divine image that a person's built in, and try to help them. And I think this is really crucial. And why it's really crucial is because everyone today, not everyone today, it's just very, very thick. And people are not letting themselves really think honestly about what you believe. And I will explain one last piece about this to understand. The counter philosophy, the relativist philosophy, is generally an atheist philosophy. And I want to explain in a second, because to understand communism, for example, communism also, it was built in the idea of an atheist philosophy. Why is that? So the answer is because the idea of communism is, you know, right now we are going to create a different world order. Okay? It's not, you don't have, we're going to take yours and give to you, because we understand what is true, what is right, and it's not based on God, it's based on us. That was, and I'm not going to get into that, because that's, you know, communism fell very fast. Why communism was so crucial to have the idea of a godlessness, but to understand it today also, because what happens is that, and I'm not saying everyone who is relativist does not believe in God. It's connected. Why is it connected? It's connected because when I'm saying that there is no truth, we the people create what's true, okay? Based on our beliefs right now in this time in history, what we believe is now the truth, okay? So let's take, for example, male and female. So Torah, truth, says there's male and female. Now, this is not a question of disliking someone who has different challenges. It's a very, very deep topic, and our hearts go out for people who have challenges in life in terms of identifying what they are and who they are. But the point here is that when I say that God has given a system of what things are, that makes some people feel very, very angry. They feel, no, I want to dictate what it is, okay? And therefore the theory of relativism today, not relativity, something else, relativism today is very, very ensconced in an idea that we know better. There are no rules. only the ones that we say are correct. And that's very, very hard to talk to. So I would say for those of us that that see the world in relativistic terms, try to hear someone else. Try to hear someone else and say, okay, he doesn't have to believe my world. He disagrees. Let me try to hear and have a conversation. For those of us who see the world more that there is a moral imperative, there is God, there is right, there is wrong, that is acceptable, not acceptable. It's male and female who understand that there are boundaries that are not dictated by us, they're dictated by Hashem. For us, we have to make sure that we understand. The only way to have anyone understand is not going to be in a political argument, unfortunately. It's to have them feel that we care about them and genuinely care about them and try to help everyone in their struggles. So have a great night, everyone. Look forward to seeing you next week. Take care. Bye.